morning, everybody. How are we all doing? Sam here, United People's TV. What day is it? Thursday, the 27th of April. We've got Spurs coming this evening, and I will be previewing that. We will be speaking about the football last night, Arsenal being pure Arsenal. We'll speak about that. But the main topic, which you can see down here, and the main conversation that we're going to have today revolves around a story that broke last night, both from Matt Lawton from the Times and Mike Keegan from the Daily Mail, around Jim Ratcliffe and the offer that he's going to be giving to buy Manchester United and how that might give the Glazers an opportunity to stay. The reaction has been pretty negative. Let's be totally honest. It's going to be pretty negative for me as well. But I'm going to run through the full story. We're going to run through both articles. Going to try and give you a bit of context around it, questions that we need to think about before we read the article, reaction to it. I'll run through all of it with you as a community. It's what we do every single day. And today, I think, is going to be an important one. Someone sent a super, Jordan, you sent a super chat there saying we need the oil money. You'll never hear me screaming that. Never hear me screaming that. Just that sentence. I don't like that sentence. I think I don't know. It just pisses me off for some reason. We're going to speak about it. Deary me. That was my initial reaction. Good morning to everyone down here in the comments. Vicky, I can see there. Jordan, of course. We've got Carl from New Zealand, as always. We've got Charlie. We've got Alex. We've got Ben. We've got Matt. Black Chicken Nugget. We've got we've got Martin Baker, Innes. We've got Steve. We've got Paula. We've got T. We've got Ant. We've got Josh. Good morning to all of you. Who's on Facebook? Kieran Moran. David. Bruno Manuel. I can see you there. Calvin Malo. Hey, there's loads of you. Good morning to all of you. I want you to give me 5 minutes of your time to cover the news, what happened last night, in the football terms, and then we'll speak about Jim Ratcliffe, this bid to give the Glazers pretty much exactly what they want. Let's run through it. And first of all, can we just say, Arsenal have peaked. This is absolutely the peak of bottling Arsenal, isn't it? Last 4 games. 2-0 up against Liverpool, draw. 2-0 up against West Ham, draw. Southampton at home, draw. City away, lost. So what's that? They dropped 6 points, 9 points out of the last 12. You have one job, Arsenal. You have one job. Stop City. And now you've got me sweating at the idea of what that FA Cup final could genuinely mean. Now, I know that there's Real Madrid in between, right? And I'm please do a madness, Real Madrid. Just be Real Madrid, all right? Just be peak Real Madrid. That means winning the European Cup and just turning up, all right? Please. Please, Real Madrid, just do us a favour because I don't want that FA Cup final to be what I think it could be. And it may well end up being that the only team that can stop Manchester City winning the treble is United in the FA Cup final. And that is a terrifying, terrifying concept. All right, let me go over here. Let me open this because I don't like missing anything whenever this comes on. What's going on there? Jeez. Jay, man. Wow. Can I just buy a plane and fly to the Glazers? I won't buy a plane. Jay. No gong will do that justice. I'm going to do it anyway. Jay's just gifted 50. Gifted 50 memberships. I need a bigger gong for that. Mate, you're an absolute legend. Thank you so much. I'm a bit speechless with that one. Jay, man, you've done that more than once. Absolute hero. That gong is too small for that. It doesn't do it justice. That's why I didn't want to hit it. Feels like I'm doing it a disservice. Mate, you're an absolute legend, Jay. And you'll help it. You'll see it here. There's a slight update in the font of the channel. You'll see it on the thumbnail as well. You'll be seeing it across graphics that are going to be on social and in TikTok too. Lots and lots of things. Everything's being upgraded a little bit. And your donations are helping make that happen. So big up to you, Jay, man. Thank you very much. I want to go back to speaking about Arsenal there, right? And do you want to know an absolutely mad stat? Arsenal now conceded more goals than United this season. And we've conceded 13 in 2 games. Jeez. Arsenal, you're a joke. Absolute peak Arsenal. And you know who else is a joke, right? Lampard. That's 5 games he's been Chelsea manager and 5 games that he's lost. And they've only scored 1 goal, and that was like a deflected goal by Gallagher. Now, he's not even half the manager of what Solskjaer is. Yet Lampard has got the Chelsea job twice. And the Derby job. Absolutely abysmal football manager. Abysmal with a capital A. Just wanted to highlight those 2 things. Speaking about Arsenal yesterday. Idiots. 1 job. Speaking about Lampard. Anyway, I'll be honest. I'm not in the best of moods this morning. Not in the best of moods this morning after this news broke last night. Okay. Now, what we're going to do now as a community, I'm going to run through both of these articles from the Times and from the Daily Mail, both corroborating the same story. However, before I do that, I think it's important that we do this, right? Why are these stories coming out? That's what we need to think about first of all, right? Because everything we've heard so far is everything's being kept behind closed doors. So anything you're reading about this sort of stuff, one sec, my bell's going off. I'm sure it'll go off in a sec. And there we go. The bell just decided to go off. do you remember the old? Do you remember that happened previously, and it just wouldn't stop? Anyway, what I'm trying to say here is the stories coming out. There's a reason for it, okay? And it's because it's going to be coming from one of 3 places. It's going to be coming from the Rain Group. It's going to be coming from the 9-2 Foundation side, the Qatari side, or it's going to be coming from the Ineos side. And you know what is important to note with these 2, again, when we start, look at the time that this was published. Matt Lawton publishing this yesterday at 7:30 p.m. What time do you think, no prizes for guessing, by the way, what time do you think that Mike Keegan's article was published? You'd be correct in thinking that. Exactly 7:30 p.m. So what we're looking at here is something that's been given to the guys. Sorry, someone's just turned up at my door. I hate when I get distracted like this. Sorry, it's another plumber turning up. Bathroom situations, man. Anyway, this story has been released to Mike Keegan. This story has been released to Matt Lawton from somewhere. Okay. So that's something that definitely needs to be considered before we go into this article. But the article itself is the concept. It's not one that fucking sits well with me. Now, I know that there will be people in the comments, and we will discuss all of this, all right? There are multiple angles. What I'm going to do now, Alex, this is basically what I'm saying. It's not that somebody's feeding. I suppose it is. Mike Keegan and Matt Lawton, clearly they have the same sources in this regard. But this is something that you have to take into account. You can't just look at an article and have a mad reaction to it. You've got to think, why is this article being released? Who benefits from it? Now, you might say that this is going to be Ineos, and this could be Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe testing the waters before the big goes in on Friday. This could be the Rain Group releasing it to try and get the Qatari bid to increase. I don't really think that's going to be the case. But let me run through this now, this article. Sorry, by the way, I've just got... I'm very good until I get distracted. There's stuff that goes on and it takes me off because there's so many things going on. It's hard. You lose your chain of thought really quite easy. So I apologize about that. But let's go through this now, okay? I'm going to read the article and we can discuss the stories together, all right? Jim Ratcliffe offers the Glazers the chance to keep 20% of Manchester United. So Jim Ratcliffe is proposing a deal for Manchester United that would enable Avram and Joel Glazer to remain stakeholders at Old Trafford. While the offer may alarm a large section of United supporters, it could prove a highly significant move in the battle to buy United. The deadline... Oh, what's going on here? Deary me. You subscribe to the Times, you pay for it, and they tell you that you haven't... What's going on here? One sec. Oh, brilliant. Well, you're getting sacked. Sorry, 1 second here. This is annoying. It's all going wrong. There's no way I'm subscribing to that anymore. What's the point in subscribing to a fucking newspaper if you can't actually read it? Yeah, well done, Times. Well done, lads. Brilliant news. Nope. Telling me to upgrade. Wow, okay. Fantastic. Well, I guess we're not reading that shit then. Let's move on from that one. And let's read, because the stories are exactly the same. All right. The stories are exactly the same from the Times and from the Daily Mail. And the Times are going to get a nice, strong letter of complaint from me after this. Pricks. Anyway, the Mike Keegan article is the exact same as the Matt Lawton article. The point is that both of them were released at the same time, which means that this has been fed to them from somewhere. And it's got to be one of those three sides. It's either from the Rain Group, it's either from Ineos, or it's from the Qatari side. And you're saying you're at risk of making Arsenal look professional. Yeah, it's an absolute shambles this morning. I'll be completely honest. Someone turning up at the door. Times article not working. Apparently my subscriptions... Piss off. Anyway, I think you can tell I'm a little bit frustrated this morning. It's almost like a story came out last night that Jim Ratcliffe is offering the Glazers a way to stay at the club. Almost. It's almost like that's the case. Almost. Right? Let's run through this article. So Jim Ratcliffe's bid for Manchester United could see the Glazers keep a stake in the club in a move that would infuriate fans who are desperate for them to go. Right? Let's read through the article here. And hopefully the Daily Mail one might work. Thank you very much, Times. So Jim Ratcliffe is offering a deal for Manchester United that would enable Joel and Avram Glazer to remain stakeholders in the club. In what would be a highly controversial act likely to infuriate large sections of United's support, one of the options on the table for the American owners would see Ratcliffe take a controlling stake of more than 50%, with the two Glazers retaining a combined 20%. Should the proposal get the nod, it would mean that a connection with the family continues. This is an interesting part here, right? Those close to the process, which is being run by US... Oh my God, what the fuck is wrong with these websites? Wow. It's just opened about 15 different emails. 1 second. I'm getting angry this morning. My word. Why can't things just work? Ah. Damn. I'm normally so professional. Today, I'm an absolute shambles. I'm an absolute shambles today. If you try and highlight any word on a Daily Mail website, apparently that pops up. Who knew? I know that now. Those close to the process, I don't need to highlight it. I'll just point to it instead. Brilliant. Those close to the process, which is being run by the Rain Group, say the prospect may well prove to be the preferred bidder. And this is a big deal. Because this is the dream scenario for the Glazers, right? And by the Glazers, I mean Joel and Avram. The other four Glazers have wanted to be out of Manchester United for a while. They wanted to cash in. Joel and Avram want to retain control, but they don't want to invest anything. So the concept of Ineos coming in, becoming the majority shareholder, the majority owner, that they will be in control of decisions. It effectively will make the Glazers glorified shareholders like someone on the stock exchange. They wouldn't have any voting rights because they wouldn't have the majority. Ish. But if they can now, and they have it on the table here, a bid that comes in, it's very, very smart, right? It's very, very smart from Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos. It's also very fucking underhand, as far as I'm concerned, because The only reason they would do this is if they now realize that they just cannot match or better the Qatari bid. So Ineos and the Ineos board would take it there and go, you know what? What can we offer that the Qataris can't? What can we offer? No, wrong one. What can we offer that Sheikh Jassim won't offer? I know. We could offer a structure whereby we buy the majority, but the Glazers, Avram and Joel, can keep their stake. And that's what you're seeing here. This is a power play. A power play from Ineos that I think will work. It either works or it does scare what. Okay, and I'll ask you in the comments actually here first. What do you think the potential scenarios are from this? What could happen? I think you're looking at the Glazers then looking at the Ineos bid going, there you go. Ineos will finance anything in terms of infrastructure. We won't be majority shareholders. We won't be responsible anymore. We'll just have our 20% stake that will, in 5 years' time, be worth, hopefully, double. Brilliant. Perfect scenario for them. I don't know why they wouldn't accept that. Well, I know why they wouldn't accept that. That would be if the Qataris came in with a bid that actually matched what they wanted, the inflated price that they've got for Manchester United. Hugely inflated. Man United is not worth 6 billion. It just isn't. I don't like it at all. Now, something that we definitely need to think about here, because I think this is a very, very curious point. So the concept here is quite simple. The concept is for, in this bid structure, the concept would be for Ineos to become the majority shareholders. They would get 51% of Manchester United. The Glazers would keep their shares, and the rest on the stock market would still be held. This is where I think it's slightly interesting, because this is the split of, if you look at how many shares Joel and Avram own, how many shares the other 4 Glazers own, and how many shares are available on the stock exchange. For Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe to get 51%, they need to do more than just buy out the other 4 Glazers, because that will only equivalent 44% of the total shares, which means that simply by buying out the other Glazers, they don't have that majority. So that will either have to be the Glazers selling off 5% of their shares, or they'd have to kind of sweep up some of the publicly available shares and buy them for, is it Ares Investment? There's a couple of investment firms that own quite a big amount of shares. But simply buying out the other 4 Glazers would not be enough. Let's go ahead and read more of this article. I thought that was an interesting point that you should definitely take into account. Such a scenario would likely sorry, one sec. I hate, why are the websites so crap? Why can't you just give me a website that works? Ridiculous. It's thought the final portion currently owned by various investment groups would also remain in place. Well, there you go. So it would be down to the Glazers selling a little bit of what they want. Such a scenario would be likely to feature a promise of further investment from Ratcliffe's Ineos to redevelop Old Trafford or build a new stadium, blah, 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 blah. Now, the deadline, a little bit of an update on that. James Ducker saying this. The deadline is going to be Friday at 10 p.m. What's your take on all of this? As I said, the fact that this has been published at the exact same time from Matt Lawton and Mike Keegan, it goes to show you that this information has been fed. It's been kind of sat on. It's been corroborated. It said no, this is embargoed until 7:30 on Wednesday night. You can't release this until 7:30 on Wednesday night, which likely means it's coming from a PR perspective, because that's what PR does. They work in embargoes. It's like Ten Hag's press conference. It's always in 2 parts every week. The first part, you hear it live. The second part, which is always embargoed until 10:30 p.m. that evening, no journalist can write about what Ten Hag speaks about until 10:30 that evening. Sigmund, you're here saying what you want to say. Thank you very, very much, Super Chat, dude. Sorry, I'm pissed off. I've been very unorganized today. It gets on my nerves. 2 choices, you say. 1, the Glazers stay with a non-controlling stake. We have a target in Ineos for protest. 2, give up the club indefinitely to state ownership. No way back. State ownership is forever. No voice. I saw you mention that comment before, actually, Sigmund, before the show starts. Who's to say that that Qatari bid would be forever? Curious question. There's no guarantee that it's forever. We're diving back into these conversations again, aren't we? Nitish, you know what my immediate reaction and instinct to this, right, was to put my mind back to the statement that Ineos released when they put the bid in, and to look at the terminology they used. We would see our role as the long-term custodians of Manchester United on behalf of the fans and the wider community. We are ambitious and highly competitive, and we want to invest in Manchester United to make them the number 1 club in the world once again. We also recognise that football governance is blah, blah, blah. We want a Manchester United anchored in its proud history and roots in the Northwest, putting the Manchester back in Manchester United and clearly focusing on winning the Champions League. This notion there that it's being done on behalf of the fans goes in absolute direct contrast to the notion that he'll create a way that Ineos will take control, but the Glazers will stay here too. That is in no way, shape, or form in the best interest of Manchester United. So whatever you think, and Sigmund, clearly you feel extremely strongly around the concept of state ownership and just diametrically opposed to it, which so many people are, and I understand that standpoint. However, this is not in the best interest. This here is in the best interest of Ineos as a business. That's the only reason they would broker that deal. It's the only reason they would make that deal. So that they could take control of Manchester United. Not because they want what's best for Manchester United, because that's what they want, what is best for Ineos as a business. And I've maintained it since day one about it's a full sale only for me. And I'll tell you now, something that I'm quite proud of. The 1958, we did a podcast with them back in, it was a few months ago, actually. I think it was the first time that they had actually done a podcast with, if you want to call it, so like an online Manchester United community. This afternoon at 12:15, I've got another interview with the 1958 that will be going out on United People's TV, on YouTube, and as a podcast as well. And this, I mean, this, of course, was something that I had booked in with the lads in advance of this news breaking last night, right? We had been speaking behind the scenes for quite some time because I think what they've done is been brilliant. I do think that. And I want to try and help them and help promote the protest that's happening on Sunday. That's why we're having this conversation. But now that the story has come out around this, around Jim Ratcliffe, and the idea that they might find a way, Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos, I'm putting them in the same category here together, that the Glazers could stay at the club. So that interview is going to be going out this afternoon on United People's TV on YouTube and on as a podcast as well. So I hope you enjoy it. I think it's going to be a pretty insightful interview. Certainly, I'm really interested to see what their reaction and comments will be around this. There's a super chat that's just been sent in there by Ian saying, "Do you not think this is being linked by MK? It being leaked by Mike Keegan, Daily Mail? Do you mean Daily Mail? MKDM is interesting, perhaps a way to sway support in favor of Qatar." Again, you can look at this, and this is the beauty. It's kind of the beauty of PR, isn't it? You can interpret this in whatever way you want. You can say, this is obviously from Qatar, and they're just trying to sway public opinion away from Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Or you could say, well, it's obviously from Ineos, and they're just kind of testing the waters to see whether this bid would be well received by fans. I think they knew the answer to that. You didn't need to release it for that. Or C, you could say it's from the Rain Group because they're trying to make the Qatari bid. It's what I mean. It's all down to interpretation. I like to think that as a community, we're quite level-headed. I like to think that I'm quite level-headed. I try not to overreact to most things. Sometimes I get swept up in the emotion of it, but I try to be as level-headed as possible. But it's all down to interpretation. As I said, the fact that it got released last night at the exact same time goes to show you that it's come from one of the three sources. But that protest now, that one there, that protest now, it was always going to be a significant protest. I was there at the Liverpool one, and it was incredible. And I hope thousands and thousands of Reds turn up on Sunday and make just as much noise, because we're at a crossroads here. Now, if you're going back to this article here, Mike Keegan, let me pull up this bit because this is a very important part of it as well. No. There you go. This. You can see at the top there. It is expected that a preferred bidder will then be selected within days. Within days. So we might well not be waiting very long for this. And that's what, that's Ahmad. That's the next talking point. That's why this protest is going to be a significant moment. If you can go to it, go to it. And I'm going to be releasing more details about it in the conversation, in the interview with the 1958 this afternoon. Gene, what are you saying? So Jim the Rat will make a total of 3 greedy pigs feedstock the United trough. For a lot of United fans, I've seen it in the comments, I've seen it in the reaction. You're going to be adding Jim Ratcliffe to the same sort of pot that you've added the Glazers the whole time, aren't you? I can see that's going to be a reaction from a lot of people. Alex, dude, mate, you're such a legend to the channel, man. You're such a legend. Thank you very much for gifting 5 memberships. It's only going to be tickles on the gong today. It's almost like I'm not particularly in the mood. Well, it's not that I'm not in the mood, right? It's because I can see how smart this is. From a business perspective, I can see how smart this play is. This is an absolute power play from Ineos. It's the only thing that they can offer that the Qatari bid can't, and it is the one thing that the Glazers are looking for. This whole time, it's why this process has taken this long, right? This whole time, the Glazers have been looking for a way to maintain their personal stakes in Manchester United without having to invest anything. How can they possibly do that? They tried to find someone to buy their siblings out. They couldn't find that person. But maybe Ineos, they will be that person. They will be what the Glazers have been looking for the whole time. This suits the Glazers more than it suits anybody else. Now, I have my issues with a Qatari takeover and the links to the Qatari state and the moral minefield that all surrounds that. I've also got massive issues with the concept of the Glazers staying. You can say, Sam, they're going to be minority. Like, They're going to be minority owners. They're still going to own 20, 25% of Manchester United. I just want them to fuck off. I want a clean exit. Full sale only. I wouldn't say it's not sneaky from Jim Ratcliffe. As I said, it's just smart. From a business perspective, it's smart. It's something that certainly doesn't put the interests of Manchester United as a football club first. It puts the interests of Ineos as a business first. Let me see what you're saying down here. Talking about Jim Ratcliffe being a businessman, he's only in it for profit. Well, Ineos is a business. And if you're thinking about that as well, it makes the... How much would Ineos really be willing to invest? We think about it, right? Say Ineos then own 50% of Manchester United. Yet Ineos would have to front 100% of the investment. Whilst the Glazers just sat there, didn't put any money in, goes, go on in, lads, you spend it. Yeah, we'll take a share of the profits. We're not spending any money, though. We're just going to take a share. Would that then cause question marks about how much Ineos would actually want to invest in Manchester United? He goes, well, how is it that we're putting 100% of the money in, but we're only getting X amount of the profits back? It will definitely have a knock-on effect. You might not want to believe it. That's cool. It will... This is why that argument has been the case the whole way. Full sale only. Clean exit, done. Close the book, open a new one, we move forward. This muddies the waters massively. It's not a conversation I wanted to have. Jibak, except the fact that all of us hate the Glazers' guts, what's the actual harm in them being minority owners? They won't be calling any shots at United. I've just discussed one of those issues. And there will no doubt be more. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any others off the top of my head, but I don't want them at the club anymore, man. 1 second here. Well, that's a nice little bit of good news. Let's pull that out for later in the show. Oh, no, I said it was later in the show. Sorry, it. I didn't realize my screen was still open. Bruno Fernandez has travelled. Bruno's travelled for tonight. Of course he has, the absolute maniac. I'll speak about that a little bit later in the show. That's a nice little bit of positive news. If you own 50%, what? I think what I'm probably most annoyed about here is surely the Glazers will accept the Ineos bid. They don't really care. Joel and Avram, who I suppose are all going to have to agree on it, so they... This complicates things massively. Chris, I think that's a pretty fair way to describe what this bid is. Ineos wants the club at any cost. Jim Ratcliffe wants the club at any cost. Is it something that suits the fans? Well, probably not. Doesn't matter, though, because we want the club. And if they can't match... The only reason this conversation exists is because Ineos don't have the funds to match what the Qataris are willing to offer. It's the only reason they would consider and entertain this idea. As I said, it's a bit sneaky. Jonathan, you're saying they may even turn down a higher bid from the Qataris to take this one. I'm unsure on that, Jonathan, because if you think about it, if you think about a deal being accepted, there's 6 of them. I know that I think Avram and Joel, actually, I think Joel's got the most as a percentage. They're all going to have to agree on a deal. So if the Qataris were to come in with a bigger bid, the other Glazers would accept it because they would get a bigger takeover. I mean, it's an internal family civil war as well about what to do and what not to do. Dylan, you sent a super chat there, dude, but you haven't written anything. Just do a normal comment and I'll try and read it out if I spot your name down there. Oh, there it is, actually. So Jim is losing credibility with United fans. Jim Ratcliffe, I remember it. I remember that first, I think it was on the same night, wasn't it? I think it was the same night. The idea that I remember there having the cans when I think it was Sky News said that there was going to be a statement from Manchester United. And then we got that strategic investment. We got the official confirmation from United they were looking at selling the club. And I remember that. And I remember at the very same time, I was over the moon about Jim Ratcliffe. And I was really pushing Jim Ratcliffe. And I was fully in the Jim Ratcliffe camp. And then as the story has grown over these last few months, I've tried to, as best as I possibly can, look at it from every angle. And I did it from Dubai. I even spoke about it from a Saudi perspective. I spoke about it from a Qatari perspective, from an Ineos perspective. I looked at the pros, I looked at the cons, and I've tried to, as much as I can, look at all different angles. And I've reached the point now, I do not like that bid whatsoever. At all, in the slightest. I want the Glazers gone. Now, you can tell me about, oh, you're an idiot, Sam. They're going to be majority. I do not give a toss. And this is a personal opinion rather than something that's purely based in facts and figures. And maybe that's something that I shouldn't be doing. But sometimes the opinion does come across. I want them gone. I want them out. Chaos. What are you saying down there? I get that we all prefer a full sale. Maybe Sir Jim Ratcliffe is doing a stage process for a long-term strategy. We can try and picture and paint it however we want, Chaos. But this is just this is Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos finding a way in, finding a trump card. What do we have that the Qataris don't? How about this as an idea? And that's something to actually consider here. This isn't necessarily going to be the only offer that Ineos put on the table. They might go in with an offer to buy all the Glazer shares at the same time. But it's the only offer that the Glazers will listen to. Some of you are asking me in the comments down there speaking about this. As I said, this concept that Ineos get the majority ownership, they need 51%. I don't need to tell you that. You know your maths. There's 44% if they buy the other Glazers out, which means they need to get another 7% from somewhere. Would that come from Joel and Avram diluting their ownership? Would that come from external shareholders? There's no guarantees of that. We know that. And Sheikh Jassim would have similar conversations around how to get that extra 31% from the Class A shares that exist in the market. Also, when you think about it too, confusions and complications. We know full well that whenever I think it was Edward Glazer. Let's have a look at this. Let me pull this up. Was it Kevin Glazer? I think it was. He sells shares. He sold his shares in Man United. Let's get this up here. There you go. Right. Just adding more confusions and complications to this. This was from when? 2021, right? Edward and Kevin Glazer to sell 9.5 million United A shares for 166 million. I believe that was their shares that confirmed. Let's have a look at that. If I'm correct, and I think I am, they converted their shares to the A shares before they sold them. So if these Glazers do sell, I think that converts them to A shares, and then they can sell unless, because I'm pretty sure that's how the share structure is set up. B shares can't be sold to outside investors. They have to be converted to A shares, Class A shares first. So if they do that, then what? Ineos buys 44% of Manchester United that are Class A shares that mean nothing. They're going to have to rip up and tear up that share, the dual share structure that exists in Manchester United. It's fucking complicated. Just want them out. Just want them out. Anchor, you're saying, I'm worried that the overall funding that Ineos has, without funds, we'll continue to see that they'll have funds, right? I don't think I've ever questioned that at any point. However, those funds are going to be coming from financing. Those funds will be coming from loans from JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. And yeah, as I said, if you only own 50% of something and you're investing 100% into the infrastructure, does that make you question how much you're going to invest? Ineos board members and shareholders, right? They buy Manchester United and they own 51%. And all of a sudden they have to put in $1 billion. All right, cool. We're putting $1 billion in. How much are we getting out? And when are we getting it out? Because that's what the other Ineos board members will be looking at. Return on investment. When are we getting that return on investment? And by only owning a fixed amount of it, it's just... The whole thing is complicated by the concept of the Glazers staying. You can't deny that, even if you don't want a Qatari takeover. Fuck. I hate them, man. I hate these dirty. Whoa. I hate these dirty Glazers, but I love potatoes. Man, I'm a potato, man. You are an absolute hero. You're not a potato. You're a legend. There's been two... Sorry, that was a loud one. There's been 250 memberships today. Fuck, I love this community. Spuds are out in 4, says Jonesy. What's your favourite potato? We're going to have a quick 30-second. What would you go for? I think I'll go for chips. I think I have to go for chips. But roast potatoes, no, mash. It's tough out here. Hash browns. Ah! There's so many good potatoes. Damn. I don't mean the actual brand of potato. I mean, which potato? Sweet potato, I've got a little bit of time for, but there's no way that you're having sweet potato as your favorite potato. Oh, man. It's got to be chips. It's got to be chips. Chips. Oh, damn it. We're going to need to do a tier list. Chips. I'll probably put mash second, I think. Then I'll probably put roasties. And then I'll probably put hash browns. I'm probably missing some in the middle here. Crisps. Oh, shit. I have a crisp addiction. I need to go to Crisps Anonymous. I find it impossible when you got a multi-pack to not just wallop the whole multi-pack. What's the point? The crisps are there. You may as well eat them. So the only way I can stop myself eating crisps is if I leave them in the shop. True problem. Look at that. I'm a potato man. You're an absolute legend. You also steered the conversation into potatoes for a straight up 2-minute conversation about potatoes. Now, that's what you want in a community. Oh man, look at you all down there, man. Jibak and Aaron. Hell yes to this community. Hell yes. I hope you like the sort of slight improvements in the font, in the look. Brought on Ollie to work with me on social. Big up to you, Ollie, if you're watching. You're probably not. Potato salad. Alex, get in the bin. You know what I find hilarious about potato salad? It's just potato with tons of mayo. It's the most unsalady salad in the world. I don't know how it gets called. Potato salad. Legends, all of you, man. Absolute legends. I'm really looking forward to having the conversation this afternoon with the lads from the 1958 about this. What's their take on it? I know what their take on it is. You can see it right there. But I want to know what their reaction is. I might take questions as well. Maybe have a little bit towards the end. If I do, make sure you follow me on Twitter at United People's TV. I'll probably put out a tweet and I'll ask for questions on that. And if I do, I'll take them from there. But I want to say quick congratulations as we move on. By the way, we play tonight, so I'm going to move on to talking about the United game tonight against Spurs. But congratulations to Ahmad, I think he was named Sunderland's Fans Player of the Year. Was he Sunderland's? I probably should have just taken the actual tweet from Sunderland. 1 second there. Let me pull this up. Sunderland. What did he win? There you go. So he was named the Supporters Young Player of the Year. Well done to Ahmad, man. Well done to Ahmad. Mate, you're more than off service. You're an absolute hero. Absolute hero, man. But big up to you, Ahmad. All right. What an absolute fantastic loan spell he's had. But let's move on here. For the last 10 minutes of the show, let's speak about this tonight. Really random comment there. Will you boo? Honestly, I was speaking about this with Dave at the game at the weekend. Booing is so weird. I just boo. It's just it's weird. Booing people is weird. I've always thought that. Anyway, Ten Hag, who has got an absolutely 10 out of 10 flat cap game, in charge, of course, tonight. This is what he's been saying about the game. In fact, this is what he said about the transfer window first. This is something that I think we all agree with. Manchester United need to strengthen the team. We're not just talking about one key signing being important. He wants to strengthen this team in multiple positions. And that's why these conversations that we've had around how much we can spend on one player, we know that we need to spend and we need to spend big and we need to spend in multiple areas. That's going to be for a different day. Today, we're focusing on the game itself. And Bruno Fernandez has traveled with the team. I do not think Bruno will start tonight. But you just can't rule it out. Remember that he's never missed a game through injury in his entire career. Ever. Like, that is outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. The amount he plays and the way he plays. Bruno's travelling. I don't think he'll start, but he'll definitely be part of the matchday squad. As will Harry Kane for Tottenham Hotspur. This is what Erik ten Hag said about Harry Kane. Let's pull this up nice and full screen. He goes, first of all the numbers and goals and also his key actions to a goal, final passes as well. He is just a great player with a great personality as well. It's quite clear his impact on the game from Spurs. We've got a plan for that. And in the home game, we did very well. So tomorrow, we need a very good plan as well. You have to defend as a team. What's your prediction? Because let's be honest, Manchester United away from home this season, we've been atrocious. Well, that's where all of our atrocious performances have come. There have been some good performances there, but you can add in like Villa, you can add in Newcastle, City, Liverpool, Brentford, Brighton. No, Brighton was at home. Majority of Manchester United's worst performances this season, if not all of them, have come away from home. If we were playing Spurs at Old Trafford tonight, I would absolutely back United to win. Like, easily. Because if we do win, I think this top four conversation is just like a little whisper in the back of your mind. It doesn't really get louder than that this season. Win tonight, and I think we pretty much secure it. There's a super chat there. Let me read this out. I don't want to miss it. Anku, you're saying yes, but that's a loan again, right? Does United even have assets to take on more loans? I'm guessing that the Glazers have exhausted the main loan market because otherwise they would have found creditors, because I don't know if they've got anything to use as collateral anymore, because they can't use Manchester United as collateral. Otherwise, we would have done that already. So it's an interesting important question. Ten Hag said this about Jadon Sancho. I spoke about this immediately in my match reaction. It was something I felt straight away. That penalty for him would have been a big moment. Something that would have been playing over and over in his head. Over and over in his head. He scored that penalty. Rashford scored that penalty. But what's your prediction for tonight, right? There's Bruno. That's not the picture I wanted. That's the picture I wanted. What do you think is going to happen tonight? Jibak, you're saying we'll be battering Spurs regardless of our away form. I wish that I could have the same confidence as you there, Jibak, that we'll just batter Spurs, but I don't think I can. I'll tell you what, Spurs will be a little bit G'd up because this happened last night. They will be. They'll be a little bit G'd up by that. We've got Bruno. I'm nervous. I tell you what, this was my predicted starting 11, right? Trying to think if I would make any changes to that now. I don't think I would. I think the only thing that I might switch would be Fred playing deeper with Eriksen in the number 10. That would probably be better from a chance creation perspective, but from a pressing perspective, and it if I'm looking at what worked, the reason I'm taking this as my starting 11 is because I'm looking at what we did right against Spurs in the first leg, the home game earlier in this season, which for me was the blueprint for Ten Hag's football. Aggressive on the front foot, winning the ball back high so often, putting the team under intense pressure. It was brilliant. Now, Sabitzer could well come in for Eriksen, and that would be a very, very mobile midfield, wouldn't it? I would say that would be a midfield that wouldn't really create too much. But again, you might see that. Maybe I've been a little bit too dismissive of Sabitzer in this game. Richard, you're saying that. Now, let me get your predictions up here. Andrew, you're going for a 2-2 draw. Gary, you're going for a 1-1 draw. Disco Hobbit. Imagine a Hobbit and a disco. Be funny. Ricky, you're saying 2-0. Disco Hobbit, you're saying 3-1 win. Chris, you're agreeing 3-1. 4-0 says Partib. You'd settle, a couple of you settle for a draw. In my prediction, I think that I think it's going to be a score draw, and I would take a score draw. Right? I'd definitely take a score draw. Spurs are a wounded animal, and I said this in my preview. That can go one of two ways. Sometimes a wounded animal is easier to put down. Sometimes a wounded animal comes up and bites you. If they're going to bite, they're going to have to do it in this game. Jeez, after the capitulation away at Newcastle, as I said, they will be a little bit G'd up by the fact that Arsenal have collapsed. 1-0, Anthony to score. Some of you talking about Fred doing maybe a man-marking job on Harry Kane. Because, of course, Kane, while he'll be that number 9, we know full well he's going to drop into these positions, drop over there, drop here. He's going to be moving around. Maybe Fred's going to be tasked with just man-marking him. That could happen. Alex, you're saying taking a draw? No way. I would. But then again, we've got Brighton at home, but Brighton just lost. No, Villa at home this weekend. Villa 5th now in the league. I think they are. You know how mad that is? That is an absolutely incredible job. Yeah, they are 5th. My word. Unai Emery, man. What a job he has done since coming in at Aston Villa. Unbelievable. So look where we are. Spurs are in 7th now. My word. Jeez, it's like there's no point even worrying about Spurs anymore. But beat Spurs and we go, what? How many points clear of them? 9 points clear of Spurs. My maths, no, is it 11? We'd be on 62. Yeah. No, 13. Oh, my God. I need to end this now. I can't even do simple maths. But look, we're playing Spurs tonight. I'll be here with my match reaction after the game. I'm going to be here a little bit later today with this. An interview with the 1958. It's going to be an exclusive. You don't hear from them much. And after the news that's broken last night around this, we need to have this conversation. Okay? I don't like it in any way, shape, or form. You can't convince me that this is something that's being done in Manchester United's best interests, because it's not. It's being done, if it is going to be this way, as a power play by Ineos to try and gain an advantage over Qatar and the Qatari bid, because they can't match what they are going to offer. That's the only reason this exists. It'll be interesting to see what happens on Sunday in the protest. I'll be here later on tonight with my match reaction. I'll be here tomorrow morning, as always, with the live show. And I'll be here this afternoon with the 1958 interview. Lots of content going out. I do try and cover everything possible. Apologies about the lack of professionalism earlier in the show, but we got back on track. Anyway, take it easy, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in. And to Mr. Potato Head, to I'm Potato, and to Jay, your legends, and to Alex, and to anybody else who gifted memberships. I love this community. I really, really do.